So today we will be presenting the election activity by Alessio Destasi and Grace Eveland. First, I'll be discussing the roles and responsibilities of presidents in general. So they're responsible for implementing and enforcing the laws written by Congress. They appoint the head of the federal agencies, including the cabinet members. They are the chief of state, of the executive, administrator, diplomat. They are the commander in chief, as well as the chief legislator and chief citizen. They also take the responsibility of creating the political agenda for the nation. Next, I'll be talking about the roles and responsibilities of senators. The responsibility is to protect the rights of individual states and safeguard minority opinion in a system of government designed to give greater power to the national government. And they also take the responsibility of checking the government by scrutinizing bills, delegated legislation, government administration, and government policy in general. Next, I'll be discussing the key issues important to this year's election. So, a huge factor taken into consideration by the voters is the COVID-19 pandemic, which also is in relation to the healthcare. And the top for both of the Republicans and Democrats is the economy, and the next one is the Supreme Court appointments. As you can see in the graph on this slide, a website took a survey of all of the voters, and they've all agreed that they'll be taking into consideration the economy, healthcare, and the Supreme Court appointments into the election this year. And the coronavirus outbreak is next in line after those three.
Moving on to Joe Biden, some background information about him. He was born November 20th, 1942. He's currently 77 years old. He was also vice president for Barack Obama. He is a part of the Democratic Party and wants to fulfill the role as the president of the United States for Trump's second term for 2020. And some endorsements in which I got this information from ballotpedia.com. He had television and radio ads, fundraising appearances, and campaign rallies. Some issues that he is running on, according to BBC.com, was included of raising minimum wage, criminal justice reform, and expanding Obamacare. And as you all know, this is Joe Biden here in the top right corner. Something else to add is that if Joe Biden was to be president for the 2020 election, his running mate would be Kamala Harris as his vice president. Also, to fact check one of Biden's quotes, he stated that not one single person with private insurance lost their insurance under Obamacare unless they chose they wanted to go to something else. And according to PolitiFact.com, this is actually incorrect because many analysts estimated about 4 million or more had their plans completely canceled and they had to find insurance elsewhere. And although the population that was insured was 262 million, 2% did have to find a new plan.
Moving on to Donald Trump, a little background information on him is he was born June 14th in 1946, which makes him 74 years old. He's the current United States president with Mike Pence as his running mate or president. He is currently a part of the Republican Party, and he is the current U.S. president, and he's running for the re-election in 2020. His endorsements include appearances in television ads, radio ads, at fundraising events, and at campaign rallies. His campaign is focused on mainly the economy, jobs, immigration, and foreign policies.
Now moving on to fact checking the information provided about Donald Trump. As you can see in the image above, Trump has made it very clear that a lot of news released by the public is rigged towards him and is therefore fake, meaning information gathered from online sources has a high percentage chance of being rigged due to the very controversial election coming up, meaning the facts that were provided may not be 100% accurate.
Moving on to the senators, the two senators running are Gary Peters and John James. Gary Peters is a part of the Democratic Party. He is 61 years of age and he attended the Michigan State University, Wayne State University Law School, and University of Detroit Mercy. He is seen at the top right on this slide. The other one is John James. He's a part of the Republican Party. He is 39 years of age, and he attended Penn State University and the United States Military Academy, and he is on the bottom right.
Moving on to the House of Representatives of the 9th District, we have Andy Levin and Charles Langworthy. Andy Levin, as shown on the right here, and he is a part of the Democratic Party. He is 60 years of age, and he is also an American attorney and politician. Charles Langworthy is a part of the Republican Party. He is 36 years of age, and he is Michigan born and was in the U.S. Navy, and he is shown on the bottom right of the screen there. Speaking more about what Lemon has done as a representative for the House of the 9th District, he passed a bill that condemned unwanted, unnecessarily medical procedures on individuals without their full informed consent. And this basically recognized the need for additional accountability, oversight, and transparency to protect individuals from such medical procedures while they are in custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. For Charles Langworthy, there weren't any notable claims or quotes that I can find about them, and for both of the candidates for the House of Representatives of the 9th District, there were not any endorsements I could find either. Now moving on to the House of Representatives of the 10th District, we have Kimberly Bizone and Lisa McLean. Kimberly Bizone is part of the Democratic Party. She's 51 years of age. She attended MSU. She's Michigan-born, and she's a community leader. Lisa McLean is part of the Republican Party. She's 55 years of age. She's Michigan-born. She's a business leader, and she was also senior vice president of the Hans Group. Specifically looking at their claims, revolving around the question of what you see as the federal government's role in healthcare given the COVID-19 pandemic. Lisa McLean supported less government involvement in healthcare and ending the ACA, which is the Affordable Care Act. She would support spending Medicaid to the state level, allowing them to administer and oversee it as fits with their citizens. And regarding the COVID-19, she would favor patients who have contracted the disease being held harmless with regard to non-covered insurance costs, and the same for hospitals and medical organization. Kimberly Bizone, on the other hand, believes that everyone has the right to affordable health care and will fight any attempts that are made to take away health care from the over 40,000 people in the 10th District who gain coverage under the Affordable Care Act, also known as the ACA. She believes that Congress should come together to improve the ACA by covering more people and lowering costs, including the skyrocketing cost of prescription drugs, especially regarding the pandemic of COVID-19. Looking at the ballot proposal, specifically Proposal 20-1, it was a constitutional amendment to allow money from oil and gas mining on state-owned lands to continue to be collected in state funds for land protection and creation and maintenance of parks, nature areas, etc. Some pros of this was that it made projects to renovate facilities eligible for grants, and there can be many capital improvements on parks and renovates on the cap of the size of Natural Resources Trust Fund. There's not enough revenues to help roads and the environment, and this can really change that. Some cons of this proposal, however, is that it prohibits projects to renovate facilities, does not require parks to spend money on facilities, and there would be a massive tax increase for glut spending. Also, I found a quote from Ballotpedia that said it is a massive package of unrelated bills cobbled together to get special interests on board, which shows the negative impact of this Proposal 20-1. Now looking at Proposal 20-2, it was a constitutional amendment to require a search warrant in order to access a person's electronic data or electronic communications. Some pros of this is that the amendment might help both law enforcement agencies seeking warrants and those individuals, families, and organizations who may face unjust searches and seizures of electronic devices. It aims to create clear boundaries for law enforcement officials in Michigan, and if it is successful doing this, it could save money for law enforcement agencies by relieving them of the burden of defending unlawful searches or electronic data seized without a warrant. Now looking at the cons of this, Proposal 20-2 will do little to change how law enforcement treats electronic data and communications. It already is common practice for police to seek a warrant before attempting to access information stored in these formats. So it's kind of redundant to make an amendment or a proposal. Moving into Supreme Court Justice, the Democratic Party nominated Bridget McCormack and Elizabeth Welch. The Republican Party nominated Mary Kelly and Brock Swartzel. And the Libertarian Party nominated Carrie Lee Morgan and Catherine Mary Neptune. And I got this information from Ballotpedia. Bridget Mary McCormack was born on July 23rd, 1966. Elizabeth Welch was born on September 20th, 1970. She is 50 years old. Mary Kelly, she has been in office since January 1st of 2011 to October 1st, 2015. Brock Swartzel, his current term ends on January 1st, 2023. Carrie Lee Morgan, his next election is November 3rd of 2020. And Catherine Neptune, she's a candidate for the Michigan State Senate, District 24 of 2018, and she's a part of the Supreme Court in 2020, of course. And this information I got from Ballotpedia. Not much extra information was found about the Supreme Court Justice candidates, although they were significant in the aspect of being nominated by a specific party. Here's a works cited, all credible and significant sources to our presentation specifically, and here is the second page to that. Thank you.